Who would have imagined Mercedes would have such a difficult weekend at the Dutch GP, following such an amazing run of results? That's correct, people. At Zandvoort, the team that had been dominating the previous 4 races with 3 victories in a row suddenly found it difficult to finish in the top 10. What took place? In a single race, how can a team shift from the front runners to a midfield contender? Is the car hiding a more significant issue underneath, or was it just a terrible day? Let's examine the implications of this surprise result for Mercedes Constructors' Championship hopes. Can the German squad bounce back in time to take on the seemingly rejuvenated Ferrari? To forget about this weekend, let's hear from team principal Toto Wolff and the drivers themselves. Let's also examine some theories regarding the possible causes of this unexpected decline in performance. Was there a problem with the car's setup? Or perhaps an update that didn't function as planned? A thorough examination of this Dutch Grand Prix that left Mercedes with more problems than solutions. Remember to subscribe to the channel and enable notifications if you're a fan of Formula One and want to keep up with all the season's twists and turns. Come on, let's go. First, let's not forget the amazing momentum Mercedes had on the way to Zandvoort. The team has finished on the podium 6 times in the last 7 races with 3 victories. It seems that they had at last discovered the way to success, correct? At certain tracks, Red Bull and McLaren were sweating under the speed of Hamilton and Russell. Mercedes should be feeling quite positive going into the Dutch Grand Prix with all this momentum. Besides, they had recently pulled off an incredible 1-2 in Spa, even though Russell's disqualification cost him first place. With anticipation for another amazing performance, everyone was observing them. But what did we observe on Sunday after the dust settled, my friends? Hamilton in 8th place and Russell in 7th. It was a surprise to finish in the midfield for a squad that had been battling for wins. It seems as though Mercedes has traveled back in time to the start of the season, when they were still having trouble comprehending the vehicle. Everyone was left scratching their heads at this outcome. Was it simply an off day, or is something more sinister lurking beneath the surface? We will now attempt to comprehend that. Now, let's discuss Lewis Hamilton's incredibly convoluted Saturday. After winning 2 of the previous 3 races, the 7-time world champion unexpectedly found himself out of the event in qualifying. Yes, Hamilton did not even reach the 3rd round. We haven't witnessed anything similar happen to him in a very long time, right? However, things grew worse. Hamilton managed to impede Sergio Perez during the 1st round. What was the outcome? A grid penalty of 3 places. That caused the British, who was already set to get off to a rough start, to plummet much lower to P15. After Albon was disqualified, Hamilton took P14. I think you can understand Hamilton's irritation. Following the race, he stated,
"Unfortunately, qualifying really made it difficult, and then from there, I think if I qualified where I should have qualified, I would have been in the top 5.
And see, he made a comeback and finished 7th, even though he had to start from a very long way back. This demonstrates how crucial qualifying is in the modern Formula One. Despite his immense talent and multiple overtakes during the race, Hamilton was unable to make up for his unfavorable starting position. It's the same old tale. Sunday is frequently defined by Saturday. And now I have bad news. If you're thinking that, at least George Russell got away with it because he qualified well. The young British driver got off to a strong start, coming in 4th. One may even hope for Mercedes to finish on the podium in the first seconds of the competition. But then things started to go wrong. Russell started seeing far more tire degradation than usual. It appeared as though the Mercedes car's tires were being consumed by the Zandvoort asphalt. Russell could see the cars in the mirrors behind him growing larger with every lap. The group even attempted to alter their plan, choosing to make 2 pit breaks as opposed to just 1. To hold jobs, though, even that was insufficient. Russell continued to lose positions, ultimately finishing the race in 7th place, far from the podium that had initially appeared to be within reach. The most concerning aspect is that Russell himself was unable to fully comprehend what had transpired. Following the event, he said,
"Yeah, just surprised with a lack of pace. Really don't know where that disappeared to. Friday was good, Saturday was reasonable.
You know the squad has a serious issue when not even the driver can explain the subpar performance. The worst thing is that other people also experienced tire problems in addition to Russell. During the race, Hamilton also reported experiencing similar issues. This implies that there was a more basic issue with Mercedes' setup for that particular weekend rather than one particular vehicle or driver, so this is a highly convoluted depiction of Mercedes. Russell lost places throughout the race. Hamilton had issues during qualifying and both had tire wear. Is this, however, merely the beginning? What would have happened to make this the German team's forgettable weekend? Now that we've seen what transpired on the track, let's investigate the reason for Mercedes' subpar performance. Ultimately, a team doesn't suddenly lose that much of a performance without a reason, does it? Problems with car setup are among the first things that spring to mind. Since Formula One is a detail-oriented sport, sometimes a minor setup adjustment can have a huge impact. The Mercedes team principal, Toto Wolff, acknowledged that the team had made some obvious mistakes in the way the car was being operated, but was that all there was to it? Another intriguing possibility is being discussed behind closed doors. Recall that Zandvoort received some modifications from Mercedes. It's possible that these innovations weren't as successful as anticipated. It is not always the case that what performs well in simulations or the wind tunnel transfers to the actual track. Not to be overlooked are Zandvoort's particular requirements. The track is distinct, featuring swift turns and variations in altitude. Perhaps the Mercedes vehicle just wasn't able to adjust to these features effectively enough. The Mercedes crew does, in fact, have a lot of work ahead of them. They must conduct a thorough and in-depth investigation of what that transpired in Zandvoort. It won't be until then that they will be able to comprehend what went wrong and, more crucially, how to keep it from happening in the next races. Let's now discuss numbers. Mercedes was on a solid upward trend and in 4th position in the Constructors' Championship prior to the Dutch Grand Prix. They were getting closer to 3rd place finisher Ferrari. However, the outcome in Zandvoort made matters more difficult. With Russell in 7th and Hamilton in 8th, Mercedes managed just 10 points, but Ferrari had a far better weekend. With Leclerc placing 3rd and Sainz placing 5th, the Italian team scored a total of 25 points. This implies that Ferrari, which appeared to be losing the race, unexpectedly found itself back in the lead. The previously narrowing distance between the two teams grew slightly wider. Of course, there are still a lot of races to go, but in this close competition, every point matters. Mercedes' main task at hand is to make sure that the incident at Zandvoort was an isolated misstep rather than the start of a larger trend. In the upcoming race in Monza, Italy, they must return with a bang. The good news is Mercedes has demonstrated time and time again this season that they are capable of rising above trying circumstances. Recall how they battled to comprehend the car at the beginning of the year and eventually reached the point where they were fighting for victories. Furthermore, Monza is a track that differs greatly from Zandvoort. Because of the high speed of the circuit, aerodynamic efficiency is critical. Mercedes might very well be back fighting at the front next weekend if they can resolve the issues they encountered in the Netherlands. However, what are your thoughts? Can Mercedes bounce back and contend with Ferrari once more for 3rd position in the Constructors' Championship? Post your thoughts in the comments section. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you like this analysis of the Dutch GP. Additionally, ring the bell to ensure you don't miss any F1 World news. Until the next video, see ya.